Okay, I thought I would take some time to show you this bullet trap and how it worked out for us. We shot this the other day and I got 3 different loads. Hopefully you can see these. This is all bullseye powder, shooting a 45 ACP round, 45 Colt pistol. This is going to be got fired out of a FN pistol. But there's your bullet that we're shooting. So got that one right there. And the first one that we shot was at 3.5 grains of powder. So what I did was I circled where the bullet went through this wood in this nice bullet trap. So I want to analyze this first one. Let's see, you can see it right there. 3.5 grains of the bullseye powder. And this is shooting a 230 grain ball ammo. Here's our bullet that we shot, actually captured that one, caught it. We're going to analyze this bullet carefully and see if anything happened to its travel weight, its weight loss, and also look at its diameter. We'll look at that in a minute. So imagine yourself as a bullet. This was laying on its side. I've got it standing vertical now, but this is our bullet trap. Bullet, trap. This is 2x6 lumber that I bought from Lowe's out of their junk section. Now bullets, you know, in the movies the bullets always travel like they're lasers, but that's not real life at all. You can use a laser to kind of tell which way a bullet is headed if it goes through one piece of material. But watch this, you might be surprised. This is one traveling at 650 feet per second. It's got 200 foot-pounds or 200 pound-feet, however you want to say that, of energy. And look where it goes. Now, if you see a red circle here, that means that the bullet penetrated the wood. So it went through 1, it went through 2. Notice here's your level right here. This shows you your energy level. It went through the first board, it went through the second board. When it got down to the last one, there's the bullet. If it's in a black square around it, that means it stopped right there. So that bullet stopped on the 3rd board. Now that is a very light target load, and you can see it got off path a little bit. You'll see that more on the next ones, but there it is. So I'll set the bullet aside there. It's still in good shape. It has changed its diameter by 10 thousandths, so it's no longer shootable unless you were an emergency. But you can see that's slightly off. See how the steel rod won't go in the bullet hole? I have to kind of pull it over a little bit. Now the reason behind that is, even though this is a 45, you might not think in these terms. It's only traveling at 650 feet per second, but when it's going through the air, it's spinning at 35,000 RPM. So when it hits the first board, it is spinning. Its gyroscopic spin is 35,000. The turn ratio on that barrel is 1 in 16. So if the barrel was 16 inches long, it would rotate that bullet 1 full rotation. Most barrels are about 4 inches or a little bit over that, so it's only going to rotate 1/4 of a turn is all that bullet's going to rotate. But it's going to be going at 35,000 RPM. So you imagine when it goes to that first board, that RPM is going to reduce quite a bit. It's going to reduce even more on the second board. By the time it gets to here, it hit that and it made a round nose mark on that. You can clearly see that when you put the bullet in the hole and push down. It's the shape of the bullet, exact. But it probably went and it spun to a stop, and that was the end of it. Say, why are you showing all this stuff? Well, I'm just showing you with a target load, even though it's a very light load, only 650 feet per second, only 200 foot-pounds of energy, it still penetrated board number 1, board number 2, and on number 3, it slammed to a stop. So that's not really good enough to use for what I'd call personal protection. So let's take a look at the next one. This is my favorite round, is this second one right here. The reason it's my favorite is because at 4.5 grains, this one is my target load. It's not high recoil, it's easy for me to control, and it comes in 750 feet per second, and the energy level on this one is 300 foot-pounds. Watts of penetration. It goes through the first board, it goes through the second board, it goes through the third board, and then notice that it's not laser. It does not go like a laser. That bullet is spinning at 35,000 RPM when it comes out your muzzle. When it hits that first board, it's going to be less and then less, and by the time it gets here, it has no more spin. All this wood it penetrated was putting the brakes on the spin. Still has forward motion, but it's no longer spinning, so it loses its gyroscopic stability, meaning it may not hit like a laser. It may turn and veer. Now look how far that veered. That veered a long ways off, and that bullet hit flat, and that's what it would be doing in the human body. If it's hitting a rib or anything in the body, anything that slows that bullet spin down, as soon as it loses its gyroscopic stability, it's a very good chance that that bullet will no longer travel straight, because the base of the bullet is heavier than the nose, so it's going to want to take the least path of resistance, and it's going to begin to turn. And when it turns, it's going to make a huge shock wave, temporary cavity in the body. So this is kind of a tuning, even though I'm just using boards. I know it's not gelatin. Gelatin is trying to prove how good a hollow point is, and have no interest in that. If you want to shoot hollow points, that's fine. One of the main reasons they come up with hollow points is so a 9mm doesn't shoot through things. I'm not shooting a 9, I'm shooting a man size 45 caliber. Say, well, I like a gun that's high capacity. Well, that's when you go with the FN. You buy an FN, Fabrique Nationale. That comes in at 15+1 and 18+1. So I've got 16 or 19 rounds of 45 ACP. So that settles that. We don't talk about capacity anymore. You don't have to have a 1-9 to have capacity. You can have 45 now, have a man-sized caliber. So let's look at the last one now. The last one's going to be a combat load. It's going to be the 5.5. Combat load is 5.5 grains of the bullseye powder. 5.5 grains bullseye. Still shooting a 230 grain lead hard cast bullet. Now watch, it goes through the first board. This is board number 1. Here's your board numbers over here. Board 1, got a red circle. That means it's going to penetrate the board. It goes through board number 2. Still laser straight, it's still hitting. There's number 3. It makes it through number 3, and now the laser straight is gone. Why does it lose that laser straight ability with such a heavy bullet? Because it was traveling, rotating at 35,000 RPM when it hit this board. Then it may have dropped down to 25,000 RPM. Then it dropped down to close to 0 right here. By the time it gets to the third board, the spin is starting to leave the bullet. It's almost gone. It may have some left. Let's say it's spinning at 5,000, but now it's getting unstable. So it blows through, still leaves a round print. I'll see if I can get that to move that far and poke it on through. I'm bending my rod a little bit. Can he do it? Yes, he did do it. And now get down to the bottom. Notice the weird angle, but it's close. Now look what happens. By the time it makes it through board number 4 with a combat load, we're traveling at 900 feet a second, 400 foot-pounds. That bullet hits. See that right there? That bullet hit flat. See that? That's because it stopped spinning. It's running out of energy. I put that red is the wax off this bullet, and it printed and left that red behind. But you can see that that's a wallop. So the combat load has quite a bit more recoil. For somebody that's recoil sensitive, it might be too much, but it is like I say, it's 900 feet per second on this load. It is 400 foot-pounds. The purpose of combat is to be able to shoot through vehicle doors, shoot through glass, and tactical vests. Not a bulletproof vest. Not going to shoot through a bulletproof vest with a 45. You won't be able to shoot through a Sherman tank with a 45, like some people tell you, but it will penetrate board number 1, board number 2, board number 3, board number 4. It split the board in half a little bit. This is screwed and glued at every joint, but it still busted that board up, and then slammed on the brakes. 1, 2, 3, 4 it penetrated, and on the 5th board it put on the brakes, and you can see it slammed. It still knocked a pretty good print in that board, and you wouldn't want that to be on your inside. But I'm telling you, this is just amazing to me. It's not gelatin. I'm not shooting hollow points, so I do not need to know how much can it expand. You don't need a 45 to expand, friend. It's already a large caliber weapon. It's almost a ½ inch in diameter. I don't need it to expand. It has already got well over 100 years of experience of putting bad guys on the ground. So I'm happy with it. It does a good job. Now let's look at one more thing with this bullet. I went ahead and weighed it in with digital scales. Here's some information for you. I weighed this bullet in. Let's put this right here where you can see it. There is the bullet weight. I weighed it digitally from the factory. Came in at 230.3. After I shot it through all that, it basically lost its wax, maybe a little bit of lead, but its final weight after it penetrated all that was 226.5. It lost 3.8 grains. That's a minus, but that's your total of your loss that was lost was 3.8 grains. Then on diameter, believe it or not, even though it's a lead cast bullet, they're normally 0.452, but bad boys bullets, they print their bullets out at 0.451. So 0.451 is the factory. After shooting through the boards, it came out to 0.441. So we lost a total, I'm putting it as a positive, I'm showing the loss. It is a total loss of 10 thousandths of an inch. So it's too small to reload and use again, even though they're still good looking bullets. Here's the bullet. Remove some of the wax, and if you look very carefully, it does put a print of the lands and grooves. It rifles that a little bit, and that, like I say, that's spinning at 35,000 RPM until it hits first board, then maybe 25, then maybe 10. By the time it gets up to the second or third board, depending on how fast it's going to knock that spin out. As soon as the spin stops, that bullet is going to do what it wants to do. It was traveling in this direction, going down with the nose headed down towards it, and as soon as the spin stops, it's going to start rotating because the base is heavier than the nose. A lot more mass there, so the mass is going to try to do like that, and that's when that bullet right there. You don't have to worry about 0.45 anymore. What's the caliber of a bullet turned sideways? That's a good question. We know what the bullet caliber is, it's 0.451, but what about if it was turned sideways? Well, see, now you're at, caliber is 0.67. That is a big caliber hole to be going through you sideways. So you don't have to worry about over penetrating with a 45. If you make you a hand load, use 4.5 grains of bullseye, you'll be shocked at how good the results. I hope you never have to shoot at a person. Don't ever have to do that. That's terrible. But we've got a whole bunch of people coming to visit, about 10 million, 15 million people that don't belong here. So it's a good practice to practice your shooting, get good at it. And if you love your family, you want to take care of your wife and your kids, there's absolutely nothing wrong with getting you some reloading equipment, some cheap lead bullets, and 4.5 grains of bullseye. You can make a whole bunch of practice rounds. There's 7,000 grains of powder for 1 pound. So even at 7 grains of powder, which would be way too much, but that'd be 1,000 rounds. And you go 3.5, the light one, very light, you can go get 2,000 rounds out of that. So you're gonna be looking at about 1,500 rounds, 1,700 rounds. I'll let you do the math on that. Just divide 7,000 by 4.5 and it'll tell you how many you can make 1 jug of powder. A little bit more encouragement. If you see a jug of bullseye laying around anywhere, in the gun store, reloading store, sporting goods store, you see some bullseye, snag it, because it's getting harder and harder to find. I don't care if it's a 1 pound jug at $50 or a 4 pound jug, $200, 8 pound, whatever you can afford. Get as much of it as you can swing and sit on it. Put it in a good air conditioned space. And you may not even be a reloader now, but you don't know what the future holds. So that powder might be worth $1,000 a pound here in a year or two. So if you get a chance to buy some bullseye, get it. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this little bullet trap provide you with some good information. I built this out of junk lumber at Lowe's. They had a junk locker there that you could pick up some scraps from. And this one ended up being $3 for an 8-foot 2x6, and I bought 2 of them, so $6. Screw and glue and nails, so I'm probably at $7 for that nice little bullet trap. And it provided me with a lot of information. If you want to know the distance fired on this, I had it on another video where I shot it, and I was just an inch or two off of the board. You can clearly see the muzzle blast there. The 3.5 has almost none, the 4.5 has some, and the 5.5 has a little more. So that's the distance we fired at. And I hope this helped you. Please tap the like and subscribe, and send this off to some of your friends. We appreciate you. Over and out for now. Okay, we are going to do this test. The test is going to start off with the bottom ring as the target. This is our bullet trap. I'm going to be shooting this particular gun, which is the FN 545 Tactical. This is not about my shooting skill. I want this bullet to hit perfect. So it's going to be up close and personal, and I'm going to try to hit the center of that target right there and stay level. Got my safety glasses on, so here we go. That should prove to be interesting. Ready? Cycle one into the tube. Now we got a chambered round. All right. 3, 2, 1. Okay, there's our first shot. Now let's holster up, get my little rod out here. Let's see what kind of penetration we got. That may go through the hole, it may not. That did not quite fit the hole, but we can at least see how many it went through. Okay, I've got one here, went through. I've got another hole there. Go ahead and turn it so y'all can see it. There's a hole, went through that one, and went through here, and look what I found laying right there on that bucket. There is a nice shiny lead bullet, shined up and warm. Wow. Now, if you had to shoot a bad guy, that's the way you want to do it right there. You want to be able to shoot through him and fall out right behind him on the deck. Doctor doesn't have to fool with it, and everything will be in good shape. So it made 1, 2, 3 boards, 3 2x6s, and that's with a 200 foot-pound bullet. And I'll let you look up the speed. We'll get back into that, but I believe that one was right at 650 feet per second, 200 foot-pounds, and it went through 3 boards. So let's try the next one. The next one is my favorite carry round, and that is 4.5 grains of bullseye. That gave me all the information I need, so I'll go ahead and unload my gun. We'll put those back in the container for the 3.5. I am very impressed with that for a target round. I believe that would still take out a bad guy. And that's a lightweight target round with 3.5 grains of bullseye. So here is my secondary target load, also a target load, but this is what I carry for personal protection. So why don't you carry hollow points? Because I'm cheap. That's why I cannot do it, because I'm cheap. So here we go again. This is a 4.5. Let's see if I can hit the circle. Sit down here where we can get some good information. Cycling around. It's in the chamber. And this is the 4.5 grains of bullseye. Let's see if I can hit the circle. And about right there. Okay, that was definitely hotter. It made a fire ring, or I could say a blast ring. That's one of the things that the NCIS guys look for. And let's see if I can find that bullet. All right, here's what we've got. Went through the first board. Turn this where you can see it. second board, third board, and looks like it got hung up maybe. Nope, it hit this board, it stopped in the fourth, and actually turned sideways, so that means that bullet is probably here somewhere close by. I'd like to find it, and there it is. Our bullet trap is catching bullets. So here's our original bullet. There is the second bullet. Now, I could shoot those again, man. They're not even hurt. They're still shiny bullets. So the second bullet, this one here was traveling at 750, 300 foot-pounds of energy. It shot through the first board, through the second board, through the third board. It hit sideways right there. You can see its print, hit sideways, coughed it out, and fell on the ground on that side. So penetrated 3, stopped on number 4, but I'm telling you, it knocked a very deep dent. It would have loved to have gone on through, and if that was part of your body, it would still be hurting pretty bad. So that's pretty impressive. I'm gonna lay these aside right there. And the last one, get your bets ready. I'm gonna bet you it will not make it through all of them. The last round is a combat round. That's what I'm calling it, 5.5 grains. We are not max. We're not gonna go over the 21,000 pounds of pressure. Most books will tell you go up to 5.7. I think the powder manufacturer tells you can go all the way up to 6 grains. I'm not gonna go that high because I don't like to max stuff out. That's all there is to it. So here we go on the last round. Here goes our combat round. Everybody ready? Let's see if that is still filming in the right place. Yes, it is. All right, here we go. Last round. Wow, look at that. I slapped it in there, chambered up, just like it's supposed to do. Okay. Before the sunshine gets down, we're gonna have one more piece of information. Bullet trap. 5.5 grains, a bullseye. Hopefully dead center and level. Come back about right there, and 3, 2, 1. Wow, that is definitely more horsepower. Okay, let's see what our combat round did. I see a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and it shot through the fourth one and bounced off right there. I got to find that bullet and I found him. Wow, look at that shiny bullet, man. I mean, hope you can zoom in on your little, if you've got this on your phone, you should be able to zoom in. Here's the bullets, they all look the same. So that one was approximately 900 feet a second. It went through, I'll do these like this. You can see more blast. 900 foot a second. Its energy level is 400 foot-pounds. So it went through the first board. It went through the second board, through the third board. Had a little up angle on it there. It may have hit something there. Through number 3, it went through number 4, and it left a heavy print on number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And man, I'm telling you, that is stinking linear. That's pretty doggone linear. You can look at each one of them and see what they did. First one went 1, 2, 3, stopped and bounced off. So it made 2 and bounced on the third. The second one made 1, 2, 3, made 3, and bounced off on the fourth. The last one made 1, 2, 3, made 4, and bounced off the fifth. So if you took it up to book max, you might be able to get through that one and get through here, but I still would have won the bet. I bet anybody wanted to bet that you're not going to shoot through all of those with a plain old round nose lead bullet. Here's your 3 participants, and give them a hand, give them a little clap. They all did their duty, did their job. They're ready to get a fresh dose of powder underneath their butt, put them in some brass and a hot primer, and go again. So I am very pleased with that. A lot of people ask me, why do you shoot a moderate load with a solid bullet like that for personal protection. Number one reason, it's a target load and I get where I can hit what I'm shooting at. If I can hit my target very well, that's an empty gun now. If I can hit my target very well and I can be very precise, and I am with that sight, that's a Vulcan inverted V, inverted chevron. It is a green, let me holster this for safety, over here. It is a green V that's pointed up like that with a very sharp tip on it, and you put that sharp tip right where you want the bullet to be and that bullet will hit. Around it is a circle, I think it's 150 MOA circle. It's huge. When you got your arms up here, the circle's big, and as soon as you extend your arms out, the circle goes away and you can only see the V. And it's expensive, 350 bucks, but it's worth it to me. Holosun, I'm betting my life on it. That's my everyday carry. But I love that round right there, my intermediate round, 4.5 grains of bullseye. I can hit my target very accurately and I don't have to worry about shooting through the bad guy at 1, 2, 3, and slamming the board and stopping on number 4. I don't think anybody's going to be any tougher than that necessarily. I know this is not FBI certified ballistic gelatin, but it's still a representation that you're shooting through something of substance, whether it's clothing, very thick skin, muscles, a little bit of bone, maybe a spine in there somewhere. But you're not going to just keep going and going and going. Some people try to make this like you can shoot Sherman tanks and shoot in one side. Now that's a bunch of phooey. So you got to see it today right here at Shoot Fire with Ashley at Whimsical Farm. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed it. And please click that like and subscribe, and I'll keep you some more good information coming your way. So remember, this is the powder that does all this work for you. You're not going to beat it. That's the best powder in the world right there for 45 pistol, 45 automatic. Some people call it 45 ACP. That is your pistol powder that you want to buy. If you see a 4-pound jug or an 8-pound jug, buy it, man. Get it, even if it costs you some money, it'll be worth it. 4.5 grains, you can make a lot of bullets with 7,000 grains per pound. So thanks again for watching, and over and out for now.